Are you serious? We got another cyclone, and this one has come ashore, and it's deadly. That's right, Cyclone 3A, and hit Somalia. There's 140 people confirmed dead, but government officials expect the death toll to rise to at least 300. Cyclone 3A has hit Somalia's northeastern Puntland region, and has killed at least 140, and the number could rise to 300 according to government minister officials. The central government has declared a state of emergency in the region and has appealed for international aid. Thousands of livestock have also died, and hundreds of homes have been destroyed by this cyclone known as 3A. The cyclone has subsided, but officials say heavy rains are still expected. Now, the Puntland region in Somalia is a semi-autonomous region within Somalia, and a large part of its population relies on its livestock, its herding, and its fishing. Medicines are needed. The tropical cyclone swept through and has done a lot of damage. So far, we have confirmed the deaths at 140, according to the Interior Minister Abdullahi Hamed. He told Reuters news agency. But we expect the death toll to reach 300 or more. So it's a very serious situation. We have another another cyclone. I want to thank Reverend Gary of Kentucky for this information. If you just stop and concentrate with me for a moment. There has been Typhoon Yolanda, the largest storm in history. Looks like 2,500 people or more are dead. And massive devastation, and people now are starving for food and water. The situation's dire. There has been also, as we speak, Cyclone Zoraida hitting the Philippines again. Also remember that Typhoon Yolanda went on and hit Vietnam and has done some significant damage there. Now we have this Cyclone 3A killing another killer storm, killing at least 140, if not as many as 300 in Somalia. Now don't forget, there's been earthquakes in divers places, and in the last 6 weeks we've had an unbelievable amount of earthquakes, many of which were over 6. And also, during the same 6-week period, we've had a tremendous amount of solar flare eruptions on the sun. And the sun is just about ready to flip its poles, and as the 11-year cycle is coming to an end. Meanwhile, Comet Ison is still racing toward the sun. And, the media, we know about Ison, those of us who follow Bible prophecy and what have you, but the national media only warned us once. Brian Williams did back in January of this year, when he gave us a heads up that a big comet was coming. And this is what he said, and we're still waiting because the comet's almost to the sun. Brian?
We'll remind you as the date gets closer so you can stock up on snacks and beverages, but a comet is coming, a big and brilliant comet arriving in November 2013. It could potentially be 15 times brighter than the moon and visible in broad daylight over the U.S. We will be your Comet Network, and we'll keep you updated.
Now, while that's going on, let me say to you, Ison's not the only comet in the sky. There's also Comet Inky and Comet Lovejoy and another comet. I can't remember that one's name. There's 4 comets. I think about Jesus when he said that for the Lord will send the winds from the 4 corners of the heavens. I keep thinking about that verse and thinking about these 4 comets and looking at all these earthquakes and recognizing these storms. And then I remember what Jesus said in Luke 21:25. He said, "For there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars, and distress of nations with perplexity, and the sea and the waves roaring, and men's hearts failing them for fear of what's coming upon the earth." And during all that, he said, when you see these things come to pass, then you know that the time is drawing near. Matter of fact, he even told us to look up, lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh. Now Peter said, for the Lord is coming back again like a thief in the night. So it's unexpected. But then again, Jesus also said, watch and pray, for in an hour you think not the Son of Man cometh. But Jesus also told us, he said, no man knows the day nor the hour. No, not even the angels in heaven. Not even the Son of God, but only the Father. Yet he did tell us that at midnight he would come, and would he find the virgins ready. And so there's several. But then he also said, but of the times and the seasons, look, he said, you can see the day approaching. So put it all together, and you should recognize, and we'll throw in 5,000 dead blackbirds falling out of the sky in Beebe, Arkansas, and 7 million dead fish washing up on the banks of Redondo Beach, California, 7,000 buffalo falling dead in Vietnam, and 7,000 bald eagles dying in 1 week in Vancouver, Canada, eating the carcasses of dead rats. We'll talk about all of these birds fall from the sky, all these fish, all these cattle. I mean, we're talking thousands of cattle in South Dakota. 10,000 cattle died in Russia last year. 260,000 llamas died in Peru this year. 30,000 sheep died this year in Uruguay. 13,000 sheep died in a snow blizzard in Norway last year. And fish washing up on the shores and the banks all over the world. And oh, by the way, the Texas lake turned blood red. The river basin at Memphis, Tennessee turned blood red. The Yangtze River in China ran blood red for 3 days. The Beirut River in Beirut, Lebanon ran blood red for 3 days. The waters turned blood red in the ponds in France. It rained blood red rain in India and in Sri Lanka. Are you serious? The water turned blood red just the other day in Holland. The water turned blood red in the Sea of Azov along the coast of Ukraine and Russia. The oceans turned blood red along the coast of Australia. I mean, we could go on and on and on and on. Something biblical's going on. Is anybody watching? Is anybody listening? Oh, is anybody anywhere giving us any kind of warning at all?
We'll remind you as the date gets closer so you can stock up on snacks and beverages, but a comet is coming, a big and brilliant comet arriving in November 2013. It could potentially be 15 times brighter than the moon and visible in broad daylight over the U.S. We will be your Comet Network, and we'll keep you updated.
They haven't spoke since that day, January the 13th. Brian Williams told us this. Here it is now, November the 13th, and Ison's almost here. And they haven't said another word. Well, tomorrow, my guest on my live show will be Jesse, the scientist from BP Earthwatch, and I'm going to ask him. We're going to talk again. He'll be our guest every Thursday during the next few weeks as we continue to monitor Ison. But certainly, something biblical is going on with the signs of the second coming of Christ.